Hey, I got a question for you. How often do you think about the word retirement? When we are planning for retirement, it's crucial to be realistic about it. Unfortunately, many Canadians end up believing common myths that lead to an unrealistic picture or underestimating the amount they need. I don't want you to be one of them. So in today's video, I want to give you my top 8 retirement myths that I hear a lot from my clients, and I'm also going to tell you what you can do to avoid falling into these traps. Hey, welcome back. This is Thomas, your trusted advisor for retirement, wealth, and insurance in Canada. If you're interested in these topics, make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you always get the most up-to-date video. Let's get started. The 8th common retirement myths that I hear a lot is, I don't need to save for retirement now. You probably go about your daily life worry about immediate things like paying down your credit card bill, having enough money to put your kids through school, or putting a down payment on a larger home. And that's totally normal. Those are real worries, so why not wait and put aside money for retirement when you're older and can afford it? Or when you're married? Or when you pay off your mortgage? There will always be excuses of things to spend money on. The truth is that a lot of people keep putting it off because it never seemed the right time. But if you have been following my channel for a while, you know that putting a little bit aside now and letting compound interest work in your favor is better than putting a lot of money down later on, even if it's just an extra $20 or $50 a month. So if you start early, you'll be surprised at how that money will grow. Let's do a quick math here. Say Tom is 25 years old now and he wants to have $1 million by the time he's 65 and retired. All he needs to do is to put away $300 per month and invest with a decent rate of return. But say he's 40 years old now, he needs to save $1,000 per month now to catch up to the same amount of money. So start saving now for retirement, even if you don't feel it's enough. Compound interest works over the long run and will help you have enough money for retirement. The next myth is, I'm counting on Social Security to pay for what I need during retirement. People think just because they pay into the Canadian pension plan or the OA Security, they will have all the money they need when they retire. And while unfortunately CPP and OAS are great to have, you shouldn't count on it to meet all your future needs. As the baby boomers are entering retirement, they have put a real strain on the Canadian pension plan. They are living longer and so are taking more money from it. Thankfully, the government is aware of this and have made some changes to the CPP to compensate. For example, in 2016, changes were made so ideally the goal would cover a third of your present-day earnings. But that means that you will still be responsible for the other 67% of saving, and not everyone contributes to CPP for 39 years. Besides from a tax-free saving, you should still put money away into an RRSP which are exempted from tax and will increase your saving now. I know you must have billions of reasons of disagreeing with my statement, but again, if you understand RRSP and use it right, this will help supplement the money you get from the government as well. Number 6, we have I will get enough money for my parents in their will when they died. You might think that the house they live in will become yours one day. Unfortunately, this is generally faulty logic because you shouldn't count the money your parents give you when they pass away. A lot of times, I see parents are underestimating how much money they will need for retirement and so are using up their savings, leaving less or none for kids. You might look at your parents' wealth now and see they have built up a healthy nest egg. But the truth is that they will likely use up that money before they die, leaving you with less than you thought. I witnessed so many elders need to refinance their house to pay for their house maintenance, medical bills, or taxes. And in addition to that, according to Statistics Canada, more than 2 million Canadians are in the sandwich generation, where parents use up all their retirement saving and they need your assistance to retire, while your kids need your support for the lifestyle. You just never know. So what I recommend is you should have an open and honest conversation with your parents. Besides about their health, talk about their finances too, how much they have and what they plan to do with it. It might be uncomfortable at first, but you'll be glad that you did. The bottom line is, don't get too confident just because you think you'll get a lot of wealth from your parent. In fact, you might end up having a taxman or the banker knocking at your door asking for money. Alright, number 5. I'll be able to use the equity in my home during retirement. This is another popular one. In Canada especially, we look at the equity that would build up in our homes and believe that as we downsize, we'll be able to use that extra money to fund our retirement. And while this can be true, the housing market isn't guaranteed to go up at the same rate as it has been. As in 2008, while the housing market wasn't hit as nearly as bad as in the United States, if timing is wrong, you won't get as much money as expected, which can leave you with a real shortfall. On average, there's a recession pretty much every 4 to 6 years, some more severe than others. If you need to take money out during a recession, then you might not have as much as you would like. And as most financial planners will tell you, it's never wise to have a large percentage of your retirement fund tied up in just one single asset. It's best to try and diversify your money. This will safeguard you for anything unexpected. Also, you don't want to be forced to sell your dream home just because you can't afford to live there anymore. As we get older, we find we are less keen to make changes and don't want to move homes. And while you could always apply for a reverse mortgage, you could risk losing your homes to foreclosure if you're not careful. Number 4 in retirement myth is I still plan on working during retirement, so income should not be a problem. The modern workforce is great for its flexibility, and so a lot of people who are in jobs they love can scale down their work to part-time as they get older. But circumstances can unfortunately quickly change. Technology has forced industry to change at an incredibly rate. Your amazing company may be bought out, or you may not love the new boss. The management may try to enforce new policies that you don't agree with. Working at your retirement age is to keep you happy and active, not to restrain you. Or you might encounter some health problems that prevent you from working when you're older. When we are in our 20s or 30s, we think we are invincible and don't worry that we may not be able to work when we are older. And even if you don't encounter health problems, your spouse might want you to spend more time together or to look after him or her. Which this brings us to the next myth, and that is that my spouse will take care of my retirement. While I hope this can be true, this is not necessarily the case. And while this is more common in the older generation that are more likely to only have one income families, it still is a concern for younger couples where one person earns significantly more than the other. What if the breadwinner of the family loses his or her job or is unable to work? And as much as I hate to say it, did you know nearly 40% of marriages end in divorce? And more than 1 in 4 people getting divorced are over the age of 50s. It's unfortunate that I've been seeing couples where they were financially stable, but once they got divorced, suddenly one person is left without the financial means to retire and have to go back to the workforce and having trouble to it. No matter what, you should put funds away in your own name. If anything should happen, at least you have access to money in the short term. In addition, you should also look into a life insurance policy so that both you and your spouse are protected if something unexpected should happen. This way, if you or your spouse die, the other will be financially protected for your future needs. It's also important that you talk to your spouse, share what to do if something would happen to the other person. Money can be a very taboo subject, but don't let it be. Open communication is always the best to start. We're almost there. Number 2, my children will help me financially. And that might be true, but it's not something that you want to count on. Similar to number 6 and number 3, your children will have financial struggle of their own and they may not be able to help out as much as they want. Imagine if you're in the sandwich generation already and you don't have enough to retire, what makes you think your kids can escape the rat race? It does happen unfortunately, so don't think you can rely on them for support when you're older. Similar to the previous points, have a chat with your kids, be honest with them, share the concerns together. The number 1 retirement myth that I heard the most, and that is, I don't need that much money for retirement. People mistakenly think that expenses go down during retirement, and that's what a lot of textbook answers said too, that retired people only spend around 70 to 80% of the income. While you can most likely achieve this, why would you want to? My philosophy is, why should you plan to become poor? It just doesn't make any sense to me. You work hard the entire life so one day you'll be able to enjoy life. What's the point of retiring if you don't want to live a little? So I'll say, go travel, see the world, and go out for dinner once in a while. You might say, hey Thomas, but I can control these expenses. It's true, but there are 3 other things that you cannot control, and they are certain in life. and that is inflation, taxes, unexpected healthcare costs. If you're forced to move into a nursing home because of health reasons, then you might find your expenses will go up significantly. In Canada, life expectancy is 82 years old, and this number will likely only increase. In fact, millennials are on average expected to live between 90s and 100 years old. Do you have enough money saved to live till you're 100? If not, you should start to think about saving more aggressively. Think about how you can put away more for retirement. If you tackle these myths head-on, save as much money as possible and have open, honest conversations, then you'll be able to have lots of options during your retirement. And as usual, if you have any questions about your personal situation, there's a link at the bottom. My team and I can provide you with some actionable steps to move forward. Alright, this is Thomas. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.